crazy. I like you, but you're crazy. My chores paid me, so I use that dough to allure ladies, to manure bathe me. Never that my mind's for sure shady. Pure Hades, Rev Xfinity couldn't endure to save me. Why do I let the stripper burn me on my arm with a cigarette in the same spot 10 times on a road when I feel that burn upon the clitoris? I'ma get her wet. Sorry to get carried away, I feel stupid cause I ain't get her yet. Maybe she never looking to find nigga sweat on her breast. I get vexed, so I ain't better neck open. I try to contain it, but that bang thing soaking. Alter ego say why you let them gang bang folk in. Strange lane hoping I can maintain coping, but ain't nobody talking when the insane main spoken. I like fire on my skin, blood on my drawers from up on the walls. I'm suffering, I'm stuck in the claws, stuffed in her jaws, huffing and puffing, hollering at my dog. Afterwards I like really hot, scalding water on my balls.
Am I a psycho? Am I a psycho? Yeah, I'm a psycho. I guess I'm a psycho.
All right. Welcome to Wine and Cheese number 17.
Yeah.
That seems like a good number.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I guess it does. Bobby, man, life is funny, bro.
Yeah, we were just talking about it, huh?
Life is funny. So anybody who's tuning in, listening to the show, which I gotta say, I just want to say thank you to everybody. I had Dickie English on last week.
Rick!
And the show got, for the first time, we had over 100 people listen to it in the first 12 hours that it came out.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
I posted it on a Friday.
That's because you had a celebrity on your show.
Well, that's right. Right. You know, Mark's not so important.
We love you, buddy. You need to come back, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. But, you know what's fucked up is you saw me the first time that I ever got behind a microphone. Ever.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
I remember that because I mixed the show.
You did.
Yes.
The first.
It was in Fat City at that little. I don't know.
The Cypress, I think.
I think that place is even gone now.
It is.
Yeah.
They wrecked it. So you saw me get behind a microphone for real for the first time ever, and that was the last time. Excuse me. That I was a little worried about getting behind a microphone until about 2 hours ago. Seriously, because so everybody's aware, Mark is not back. He's still fucking, not really talking to me. I still haven't verbally. I mean, I ran into him out the other night, and I thought everything was getting a little better, but
Cheese wants to extend to you, Mark, his deepest apologies. We were talking about sometimes art and commerce meet and they conflict, and I'm of the opinion that it sounds like that what transpired would not ever happen again. So if you can chalk it up to human error, and
something tells me that's not going to make him feel better.
Okay, I mean, people do make mistakes. I mean, but anyway, that is between you and him. I'm just trying to fan the flames of like the olive branch,
Yeah.
getting the friends back together.
I appreciate it.
Because y'all do have good chemistry, by the way.
This show will never be as good without Mark. And just so everybody knows, the person that I'm talking to right now is Bobby HOERNER. Bobby HOERNER is, one of my closest and long-term friends that I don't even feel like thinking about a time when I didn't know him.
Right. We have known each other a long time.
I mean, it, all the way back to when I was 18, 19 in college, and we were going with Metal Rose to Panama City every year.
Yeah.
Which were just fucking phenomenal times, man.
Yep.
And I still tell stories.
Spinnaker.
Yeah, going to Spinnaker. Y'all had the band house and
Spring Break.
I mean, some of the best times of my life.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
That was a time where I guess everybody was a little younger, and you just had all these fucking amazing people that would just come do that, like Chad Gilmore, who's now in Mark Broussard, Dave Rosser, who's now in the fucking Afghan Wigs, like how
among others, yeah.
And that's just like the first two.
Yeah.
Aaron from the Mollies is there, and Jerry Donut and Jonathan from the just amazing.
And not to mention, the cast of characters that were just good friends, like Tito.
The hanger-oners.
Remember Tito and Chad would dress like Punch and John from Chips and stand on opposite sides of the stage and just guard the stage because it was so wild.
Yeah.
They had to keep people off the stage. It would be, 4 or 5 nights during spring break, 1,200 kids every night, and you know, and of course the band house, people slept in every nook and crevice in the, you know, yeah, it was great. Nobody had kids back then. Nobody was married. It was just a free for all.
And I'll say I had.
It was good stuff.
Nobody ever thinks about this type of stuff, but I never, at that time, I would have never believed that you and I would be as close as we are. And, you know, I wouldn't have ever dreamed that you would have played as pivotal of a role in my life as it's ended up in the last, whatever, 10, 5, whatever, even this last year.
I'm glad that it's, you know, that it's maintained, you know, that our friendship has been maintained for that amount of time. And, you know, to be fair, we've had some tragedy the last few years, and I think that's probably brought us a little bit closer as a result, because I think even though you knew Jeff and David longer than I knew them, I think the amount of love that we both had for those guys is, you know, has got to be similar, you know, and so I think, you know, with great tragedy sometimes, you know, brings a closeness that you would never expect. So I think that we propped each other up during that time also.
I think we'll get into that a little more later.
Yeah.
But
It's your show, baby, whatever you want.
yeah, well, I mean, look, you're here, and you've always you were always the kind of the spark that created the whole idea for this show, right? When I came up with the idea,
I remember you asking me. I do want to say that I'm sorry that it took me to show 17 to fucking get here.
it took me destroying everything around.
That's why I'm here now, man. I'm here.
But yeah.
I got my social work hat on. I got my musician hat on, and we're gonna figure all this shit out tonight.
Right now.
We're gonna fix it.
And so what I talked about, I don't know if you've ever heard me talk about this, but I know I mentioned it a couple of shows ago, and Mark thought I was crazy, that somebody still has David's phone, and it's on, right? And the only way I know that
I
is
think Ashley's got it.
okay, which is his sister.
Yeah.
And the only way I know that is because
Did you call it?
I don't call it, but, and Mark thought I was fucking crazy for this. The drummer in Bag of Donuts, Kevin George,
Yes.
who is one of your friends, one of my best friends, for a couple of years, David and I have had a text message thread that we just every day or two, or sometimes every day.
Send some silly shit.
Oh, it's the most heinous, hilarious fucking shit you could possibly imagine. Well, that is still alive. We've still been texting. When we talk to each other, we text.
Do it through the David thread.
Yeah, and we'll.
So, is David texting?
No, absolutely.
Damn it!
So if somebody's got that, if they're looking at the text messages, there's some rancid ass shit that we say. That hey, it's all in good fun and.
That's actually comforting to know that that thread is continuing to thrive.
Right?
Yeah, I like that.
I think that's what Kevin and I feel the same way. Well, when I pulled up to my house earlier, it was like a perfect storm. When I pulled up to my house at about 5 o'clock, as I was pulling the driveway, my phone went off, and it was Kevin sending a message to the thread, and it was, he sent a YouTube link, which I guess somebody made a fucking mashup of The Trooper and
That's all you need to say right there.
it's The Trooper and fuck, why can't I remember? It's a Michael Jackson song.
I think I got that too, but I didn't watch it yet.
Right? And let me tell you something. It is fucking amazing.
Really?
Whoever did this, it is a fucking masterpiece.
It's flawless.
And the message that Kevin sent, I don't even care. He doesn't care about what I talk about. He was like, basically, fuck you, David, for not being here to hear this fucking masterpiece. And it made me realize, because I started to cry, fucking sitting there in the car. And I was like, and I responded to him, and I'm like, yeah, like, it kind of just hit me again that everything that used to make me happy now makes me sad. Like, all these things that we share that we would usually, dude, I fucking.
It's funny that you say that. Just to piggyback on it, you know, I work as a social worker every day, and so during the week when I'm not, you know, obviously the donuts gig on the weekends. During the week, come home, shower, change, get comfortable, cook dinner, and me and Amanda usually have a bottle of wine and we'll listen to some music. But you know, the kids fall asleep, and invariably the conversation turns to David because that's, you know, that's still very fresh for all of us.
Yeah.
And I would say that we probably cry together about him, no shit, probably 4 nights a week, and it hasn't.
Don't let up.
It doesn't let up, and of course, we're 6 weeks away from the 1-year anniversary. Hard to believe it's been almost a year.
It is.
So just to let you know, you're not by yourself with that. I'm sure there's quite a and yes, that exact feeling happens to me all the time. Like, fuck, like he's really gone.
Yeah, and I can tell you this, Bobby, from the bottom of my heart, knowing that other people are sharing that doesn't do a fucking thing.
I thought misery loved company.
Like, that doesn't make me feel any better whatsoever. Right?
Well, then,
like,
right. Think of it like this. Then think of it like this is like some sort of like like an AA group, or people that are addicts, or people that are depressed. We're together in our we are commiserating right now. So I know it doesn't make you feel better, but you're not by yourself.
So that happened, and then
That's good.
So the text from Kevin came through, and I sat there and I listened to half of it, and I did. I was like, maybe just cry a little bit, which is like totally par for the course. I fucking do it every day.
Yeah.
I told my girl the other night, I can't drive more than 5 minutes without fucking that happening.
Well, that's your solitude time. When you're in your car, you're by yourself, and you really can kind of let it rip.
Well, it's funny, man, because 2 times in the last year, I heard Pharrell and Willie Nelson on Howard Stern, and both of them separately mentioned how there's 2 places that they come up with all their songs and music, and it's the shower and when they're driving.
Mm-hmm.
And Pharrell had this real like scientific outlook on it. He's like, when your brain goes into autopilot, you start using a different part of your brain,
Mm-hmm.
the creative
Side.
brain, and I think that's what happens to me is that I start driving and I'm on auto, especially long drives.
It's almost like a meditation. I mean, showering can be that way too, because you've got your routine, and you're warm in there, and you just start, and your mind drifts, and you just start thinking about the shower. Plus, the shower is a good place to fucking cry because
And jerk off.
well, usually like I jerk off and cry at the same time. That's the way I do my shit. But anyway, I'm a little dark, so
Use tears as lubricant.
this is amazing. Anyway.
So that happened, and then I texted you like, hey, I'm done early. How about let's do 7?
Yeah.
And when I walked up in here, I had a legitimate it was a breakdown. Like it only lasted about 15 or 20 minutes.
It feels good though to do that, and it's good that you let that happen. Don't fight that shit. Just
trust me.
Yeah.
I'm miserable to be around sometimes because it's always in me.
yeah.
And so I was worried. I was like, man, I hope that when we turn the mics on,
You're good right now. You're good, man.
it's like it usually is, and I feel okay, and because it's a whole different thing with you. There's a whole different emotional thing there, just because you and I have gone through all this shit together.
We got the shared experience, and so that's what I'm saying about how the 2 of us can prop each other up sometimes. Like there's a sense of comfort because we, have been through so much, with those guys together. I like that you have a bunch of pictures of him all around, just like in my house. I got David's everywhere. I'm like, I ain't hiding that shit. I ain't gonna not look at it. They're like, I don't want to think about it. No,
Look, and
I want to process it the right way.
here's the thing. When you're young, and this is just through experience, you start like gaining your friends, and then at a certain time you start like picking a team, and like you see, okay, this is who I'm with. I'm picked a side. These are my group, and I had gotten to a point where I was like, man, I'm the fucking luckiest dude on the planet. I got my shit set. No matter what the fuck happens, I have these people that I know they'll die for me.
Right.
I know.
Right.
They will. And that's slowly being picked away.
And then poof, a couple of them just go.
Right, and that's like my.
And young men too. Yeah.
That's my everything.
I know.
It didn't make me happy to hear from the fucking priest at both funerals that this is the biggest turnout we've ever had. It's like, yeah, I get it. I know why there's fucking 2,000 people.
Right, because everybody loved him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was, out of these 2,000 people, there are 4 of us here who actually knew him.
Right.
And it didn't make me feel good.
Well, yeah, I mean, I totally get what you're saying. The thing that I gleaned from it that was nice, though, is, wow, those two individuals, like, they touched a lot of other people just like they touched us. That's why there was such a turnout, because, you know, they were both very different people too, you know, but equally loved and respected. And, you know, I mean, I told the man the other night, what are the chances that the two men that you and I lived with, the only two people that her and I ever lived with, both died tragically and at very young ages? Like you'd have knocked me over with a feather going back in time and going, all right, you better fucking enjoy with these two because they're going to be gone early.
And
I'd have gone, get out, fuck out of here. They're going to be around forever, especially Squirrel.
Yeah. Fucking rugged ass motherfucker.
David always was, you know, a little woo-hoo, you know, but Jeff just seemed like a, you know, Plymouth Rock, you know. But, you know, hey, man, it just goes to show you don't know in life.
So that's just that's why I keep all, like, I don't have a shitload of stuff. Like, literally, I was living with him at the time.
Yes.
I could have fucking taken everything he had, but I picked like two things that meant something to me, and yeah, I do. I got him up in my room.
I like that.
I'm not about to fucking forget about that.
No.
That's the best time I ever had, and it is the best time that I will have ever. I mean, I'm looking forward to the future, but that shit ain't gonna come back, and I'm not just gonna forget about it.
I think it's great that you're pondering. I mean, not to get too deep, but you're pondering really deep questions about life, like the meaning of life, losing people that you love, and dealing with death and moving on and trying to have a happy life beyond those people. Because, man, you know, shit, I struggle with it too, all the time. You know, like I miss them. They're both, you know, both of them were big influences on me. You know, very big.
They basically, I am who I am partially because of that.
Yeah,
right?
And it also makes me mad at both of them. I'm sort of kidding about that. I'm not mad at them at all, but I'm just mad that they're gone. You know, I'm sad that they're gone. I'm upset. I'm like, I feel like they both got robbed, you know, and, you know, we can, you know, that's a whole nother show.
And I think it's funny you say that because I won't, you know, I do this podcast. Obviously, I want fucking Mark to come back, and there's just...
He's coming back. He's coming back.
Like, trepidation and just... It's a bad scene right now. But there's been times where part of me has like, wanted to say that, man, it's trivial what's going on right now.
Well, hey.
I don't... Yeah.
What would Squirrel do?
Yeah, that's what
he'd say. Keep going.
Yeah, he'd knuckle up and do it. And
exactly right.
Like, I'm like, man.
But David too. If it's something creative, you go, dude, just keep doing that shit. Don't stop.
Yeah.
You know.
But I don't know. So it's just, it's you. So I took some notes on just things that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, sure, whatever, man.
You know, before we get to that, just to give everybody an update who's listening. I feel like there's some promise that Mark's going to come back to the show. I know that's what's built the fucking following that we have so far is him and I talking because he's fucking funny and smart.
He's funny. He's got good chemistry. And, you know, the fact that he's got like a sort of a dark way of looking at a lot of things, that's part of the charm of the show, man, you know?
Great.
Yeah.
But, right, so we don't do what we did last week and spend 25 minutes on fucking about Mark again.
We love you.
You know, I'm still hoping that he's going to come back and that
Me too.
all this will blow over. But
Me too.
You just showed me your bracelet. You've got on a Live Like a Squirrel bracelet. Obviously, I had mine on. You know,
mine's been on since Jeff died.
And it won't leave my arm.
No.
One thing that I do want to say is despite it coming from a great friend of ours' death, the event that we put on to raise money for his daughter and his wife, you were just like side by side with us.
Oh yeah.
One of the drivers of making this thing happen.
I was proud to be a part of something like that. You know,
that's one of the greatest accomplishments maybe the greatest accomplishment that I'll ever be a part of.
Well, that's truly making something beautiful out of something tragic. You know, honestly, and David obviously was huge in that. In fact, I think we were all very worried about David after Squirrel passed away because, you know, and he fucking nutted up and was, you know, I mean, shit, I think he's responsible for these, aren't they?
No.
Oh, that's you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's you.
The night the night of the funeral, I came.
But the website and all that stuff, yeah. I mean,
I think I don't know if I've told it on the. And so, for those of y'all who don't know what we're talking about, we have a friend, Jeff Wilson, who died of basically I mean, the easiest way to say it is it was a massive.
it's an aortic dissection, yeah.
Aortic dissection is the name of it. He went in.
He was 39.
Yeah, there were 50 to 100 people that were in the hospital from the moment he went in till, I don't know, what were we there, 3-4 days?
3-4 days, and there was probably about 20 of his closest friends, including his family and his children, well, his daughter, when he took his last breath. I mean, that was a very beautiful, it was sad, but it was beautiful at the same time. I really haven't been a part of many moments like that, but it was breathtaking, honestly.
Jeff was just a Renaissance type dude, like loved, he was the head of the English department at Jesuit.
Super smart.
Great, yeah.
Former Marine.
Funny, man, like funny.
Well, like world-class funny. Well, that's the thing that
world-class funny
that Jeff and David both shared equally. Super, super funny. And not just, oh man, that guy was funny. I'm talking comedian, professional type funny.
So funny.
Quick wit, dark.
And when that happened, immediately David, myself, all the members of the Bag of Donuts, the Molly Ringwalds,
Chewies, Mark Broussard,
who, you know, I couldn't, I've said so many good things about him on this show, I don't have to explain anything. Got together and put on this event that, you know, at the end of the day, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know in a single afternoon we raised $100,000 to $150,000 for his, which is like. Yep.
Everybody donated their time. We had a silent auction. People donated sports memorabilia. Yeah. I mean, I think it was around 125 grand in one afternoon.
One afternoon. Like, so
I'm very proud of that too.
I'm proud of that. And
because it benefited Rebecca and Harper. And guess what? Jeff would be very happy that we did that. He'd be like, it's a pretty good job.
And quite frankly, I think he would be a little unimpressed.
He'd probably go, meh. Really? Y'all couldn't raise 200?
That's all right.
It's a little mediocre, don't you think, guys? Come on.
So that.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Thank you for that, and that was.
Oh shit! Thank you.
Amazing, and
thank you.
Our buddy, a shared friend of ours, Chad Gilmore, who is Mark Broussard's drummer, to this day. Once a month, once every couple of months, we call each other to fucking talk about, man, how fucking crazy was that? Like,
and by the way, let me put the bug in your ear. That's another guy to get on the show.
Well.
He's a super funny and interesting cat. He's done and seen a lot. He's traveled the world playing music, and I think he'd be great in this forum. So just an idea.
Yeah, no. Gilmore is.
He's on the list.
He was. That was. You want to know where I met him?
Yeah, tell me that story.
In Panama City on the fucking road. And look,
for a Metal Rose spring break trip.
3 hours after he and I met, he looked at me and said, "Where have you been all my life?" Because we were like instantly friends, right? So that's just good.
And it hasn't changed since then.
It hasn't changed at all. I was over at his house fucking 2 weeks ago fixing his roof with him. Like,
oh yeah, I heard about that. He had a squirrel problem or something, or a raccoon problem or something.
That's, you know. So
you got to get him on your show.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna talk to him about it. I'm like, hey, dude, I just did a podcast. Dickie and I did it. You're up, baby.
Dickie was good. You should go back and one of these road trips when y'all are going out of town.
I'm gonna check it out.
So let's move away from that and I got you here.
Okay.
This was the whole reason for the show, and
I'm flattered, by the way. Thank you.
Bobby Hoerner is. I mean, there's so many things about you. You, a musician, social worker, friend. I mean, it's just. I think you're one of the most well-known and well-liked people in the city as far as entertainment and just general people go. I mean,
wow, thank you. That's pretty damn nice compliment. Thanks.
Whatever. Like from the time that I was young, I noticed that you were a part of the leadership of and respected and accepted by all fucking ranges of people. Like
I've been lucky in that area, I think. Yeah.
The whole like One-Eyed Jacks, like
the movie star crew, I call them.
Yeah. Them, and then the Metri crew and the Coconut Beach volleyball. He just always, Dickie said you bring air into a room last week.
Wow.
That is.
Oh, Dickie, you beautiful motherfucker.
Because I don't know.
That's a pretty nice thing. Wow, thank you.
I don't
Thank
know
you.
if one thing that I've been talking about for a while, ever since the microphone's been in my face when I was on the Pickle Scoop show, which this show is, I consider you the best front man in this city.
Oh, Jesus, wow.
Do you think you're the best front man in the city?
No, I mean, I would never say that about
Why not?
myself.
Okay, before you go there, see, I asked Dickie the same thing because I saw him at fucking Stash Gordon. I see him at all this. I think there's a chance you could be the best, Dickie.
Well, Dickie's, I mean, look, you know what? Dickie is phenomenal. By the way, Dickie has got a range that I only envy.
Mm-hmm.
He's golden throat. The man can sing whatever he wants to.
I told him he can sing circles around you.
And on top of all that, he's the sweetest guy you ever met in your life.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Which has nothing to do with being the front.
like,
Let's be clear.
Dickie and I spend a lot of time sucking each other's dick about that kind of stuff. But part of the reason is a couple of things. First of all, I think it's a wonderful thing to say. I've spent a lot of time with a lot of guys that play music and a lot of people that sing. One thing that I've found is I don't even know what it means to be the best. I do realize that I have a lot of passion for music, and I do seem to get a good reaction from an audience. Like, I know that, so I don't think it's cocky to say that. I've worked hard at that craft for a long time. But the dudes that I know that I love and that I have the most respect for, as far as singers, drummers, they don't have any air of arrogance about them. And I think that it serves musicians well, and it's good for our business if you just take a compliment and say thank you. But I don't think people should bestow those kind of accolades on themselves. Yeah. If you want to say it, dude, I mean, like, I'm honored. Like, I love you for saying something so sweet. Yeah. And I'll always say thank you for the compliment. But, I mean, you know, there's singers that I've seen frontmen that blow me away, man. You know?
But being a frontman and being a singer is two different things.
Sometimes it is, right? Absolutely.
So that's why because, I asked Dickie that. And of course, he said the same thing. No. And when I asked him who was the best, he said it was you. Right? So, and I pressed him on this, just like I'm going to press you.
Okay.
Why can't you say you're the best? Well, I don't understand. Look, Dickie and I went through this. I come from a sports background, and I don't see anything wrong. And obviously, I'm the wrong one because I get like backlash when I try to like say something is the best or not. I think you're the best. Why can't you be? Why aren't you?
Well, I mean, I'm not even speculate about that, but what I will say is part of the reason why I wouldn't say that, first of all, that goes against my personality. Like, I don't have that kind of hubris. That's just not me. And two, I really would come off as a major fucking dick if I said that about me. Hey, y'all, this is Bobby HOERNER from Magnolia, and by the way, before we say anything else, I'm the fucking best front man in the city. It's undeniable. Everybody fucking knows it. I mean, I know it. Dude, they go, that dude is a fucking dick. I mean, like, I don't think that anyway. Now, a guy like Muhammad Ali who says I am the greatest, well, the guy kind of was in his time. But, like, that fit his personality. That fit what he was doing, like, in the ring. But for me, I'd rather just walk on stage, do our thing, just kill it with the audience and walk off and not have to say anything other than, I love you guys. We're having a good time tonight. Those kind of things, I think, are better left when other people say them. If that makes sense. Look,
you heard it. I've been saying it for a while.
I love you for saying something so nice.
I've also been consistent on the fact that I think, regardless of genre, cover band, original band, I think the Donuts are the best band that are around here. I go and watch everybody, and I'm not talking about my entertainment level. You entertain me. The Donuts have always entertained me.
Right.
I think what's fucking amazing is y'all are the best y'all have ever been now.
I do agree with that.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm basing that on what I look around and see other people's reactions versus every other, because I go out and watch people.
Yeah.
I don't make assumptions or make proclamations until I go see somebody and I want to see it again and I want to think about it before I say something.
Right.
And I see that. I see people's reaction. It's different when they see y'all than when they see everybody else. There's a difference there. I don't know what it is.
The only thing that I'll say about that is, first of all, thank you. Second, I think that the four of us do make a pretty noise together, which is really important. Yeah. The four of us are in a very good place right now in terms of our chemistry with each other. All of us are raising our kids. We have the same sense of humor. There's little or no conflict or fighting. Like, as far as like when it comes to money, making big decisions, like the band just bought a big bus. That was a big decision for us. We spent over $100,000 on that thing. You know, a lot of bands that might tear apart a band. Like one guy might go, "No fucking way! I'm not spending that kind of money." All of us have got the same vision. I think we see this band continuing for a long time, and we want to be comfortable, and we want to, continue with the chemistry, and and getting return gigs, and getting people to call us back, and we all put on the makeup and go into like say some new club together, and rather than walk on stage, we'll walk through the club and meet people and take pictures, and that's the kind of thing that we like to do, because that keeps us together. Like, we're like a gang a little bit, not trying to kick anybody's ass, just trying to kick ass, if you know what I'm saying.
I think on the first one or two or three, I can't remember which one it was, the podcast that I did with Mark, Whine and Cheese, I referred to y'all, like, I don't think this term is used anymore, but back in the day we used to use the term the Donut Mafia, which is where I actually associate most of the actual close relationships I have to it, and that's what it is. I told them the story about how when you went with y'all somewhere, if you were a part of that,
you just take over a room.
You had free reign. Not to be a fucking asshole.
No, not at all.
You were part of the Donut Mafia.
There is an energy level that that rises, and I think part of it, and this goes back to when Dupes was in the band, but this has continued. There's an approachable vibe to the band, and there is certainly all four of us are very smiley and like to talk to the audience and really like to get involved. And so there's that positive energy that people feel from us. And maybe that's why it works on stage. I mean, like, it helps that the four of us have been playing together in one form or another. I mean, look, me, Jonathan, and Jerry were in Metal Rose together. We've been playing off and on with Kevin. I mean, Jerry and Jonathan have been in the Donut since the early 90s. I was their sound man for 15 years prior to singing for the last 6. So there's 2 decades together, no matter how you slice it. So part of that is just chemistry and just years together. But sometimes as you get older, that shit starts to fall apart. Luckily for us, it doesn't seem to be happening. And we're conscious of that. We want to make sure that does not happen.
And y'all brought up, so you brought up Dupes. We actually, Dickie and I talked about him a little while back on the last show.
Love him.
Duplantis, who was the original singer for Bag of Donuts, started the whole thing with them. And a lot of people who don't know Dupes, the guy could have run for mayor.
Absolutely.
Loved and
charismatic and funny, and talk about a guy that could breathe air right into a room.
Yeah.
I mean, John was a one-man version of the Donut Mafia. He could walk into a bar by himself. Dudes wanted to be like him because, John loved to drink and party. He was funny, knew shit about sports and everything, knew people's first and last name, and yet he was good looking and funny. Girls loved him. Everybody loved him. John was the type of guy that could just take over a whole room. And he fronted the Donuts for, a long time.
The thing is, maybe most people don't know, you were their sound man.
For 15 years.
You ran sound for the Donuts for 15 years.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you have to know that there are new fans of the Donuts now who don't even know who Dupes was.
Yes.
Just imagine that with you. But there are also still a faction of people who say, it's not as good as it was when Dupes was there.
It's definitely different. Yeah, I mean, back then it was, John would, pop open a Jack Daniels bottle, pass it around the audience.
Yeah.
There was a different costume like every night. Yeah. They would barrel through songs. Sometimes the songs would completely fall apart. Like, it was part comedy. It was part like live theater. It was really crazy and fun and different. Yeah. So, to me, it's like 2 separate entities. But I never argue with people when they say that they like the old version too. Shit, I love the old version. I worked for them for 15 years. I loved it.
This is my perception of it. We're talking about the Bag of Donuts. First of all, to me, the Donuts and maybe this wasn't you, but the original version of the donuts kind of created the blueprint for
Yeah, accidentally, huh?
what's going right, and it wasn't like it was calculated. It was
No.
They created something, and David and I, when we were discussing when you were first becoming the singer, the donuts were kind of losing their momentum.
They were crashing and burning,
There were
yeah.
actually questions that maybe it was over. Like, right, that the donuts might not be.
Oh, we talk about it all the time. Things had gotten bad, not to go into, too much detail, but things had gotten to a point where it wasn't working out with John, and the gigs were falling off, and the gigs were getting kind of rough, and the number of shows were just, it was sliding, and so, just as a thought, John left, and so they asked me, hey, what do you think? And my first thought was, this is never going to work. I'm not going to be able to replace John Duplantis, and people will take offense to it probably.
Yeah.
To be fair to John, he called me. He said, look, sometimes change can be like a very good thing. If it was somebody else, I probably wouldn't like it, but I'm glad it's you. Yeah. Go for it and have a good time. John did not have to do that. He gave me his total blessing to just roll with it. And for whatever reason, good fortune definitely played a role in all that. And we're rolling now.
What
but
y'all are doing is a completely different thing than that version of the donuts.
It's different.
Y'all are playing way more like private parties and weddings and festivals and things like that. It's a little bit more of a professional deal.
Right. It's some clubs, but yeah, that's all that stuff. It's festivals, it's private events, it's weddings. We dub ourselves, we're the blue collar band, meaning that if people pay our fee, we don't care what event that it is. Yeah. Convention, wedding, some bands don't want to play that stuff. And hey, that's understandable. Some of that stuff can be kind of stale, but we work really hard and usually make it not stale. You know what I'm saying? But you have to do what you think your business model is for you. There's no right or wrong way. If you're working, then you're working.
And I can tell you that from even one of the reasons that our friend David, after the first couple of Dirtiest Players gigs, he looked at me and said, you have absolutely no business being as confident as you are. He's like, you don't understand that this doesn't happen. You should not be as comfortable as you are.
Well, that's the beauty of it. That's how you know that that there's something that you should be doing.
And what I told him, I was like, man, you got to understand, I've been around y'all and Bobby for...
You've been taking notes?
15, and it's serious. I did, obviously, you and I do two completely different things, but I modeled what I was going to do and what I do now after you. To this day,
wow,
if you come to a Paper Chase gig, there are some things that I do and say that I totally lifted from you. That are...
I've done it too.
Yeah.
I've got my idols, and I mean, like one now, I've met him, but Freddie Mercury, part of the thing that I do during shows, which is that call and response with the audience, that came straight from watching shit of him, because it's a powerful thing when an audience starts to sing along and they hear like each other singing. People love to sing with 500 other people. It just is a powerful thing. So whether like it's somebody that you've seen live personally or have just seen, man, lift all that shit, make it your own, but use it all. I mean, there's probably nothing that hasn't been done by now. You know what I'm saying? So make it your own.
And I still remember it was about our third Paper Chase gig. And it's I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was a call and repeat thing that I've seen you do a bunch. And going up to that gig, I was like, all right, I'm gonna keep this in my mind.
I'm gonna save it for the right time.
And I'm gonna do it. And I remember doing it.
And it worked.
And it worked. And the look in the band's eyes when they saw it,
like what was that?
Like they were fucking when I think it was something as simple as, like, everybody having a good time. Let me hear you say yeah, and they said
yeah.
And then I was like, blah blah blah. Let me hear you say hell yeah, and it was fucking loud, and like.
And guess what? Go ahead.
Looked at me like, what the fuck is going? Like, did that just happen? Like, it's the third gig.
And the great thing about those kind of things, first of all, it's testing where you are with your audience and getting an immediate answer. Number two, when the rest of the band, including you, when they hear that come back at them, everybody sort of relaxes a little bit. Like, oh, wait a minute, I think we got them already. And then the third thing is, if you get that kind of thing and you know that you got them, then you just got to keep them. Then you hold them. The hardest part is getting them to just go, okay, you know what? We're down. This band is good. You know, they're awesome. I'm going to sing back. And then after that, you just got to hold them.
And it was, and this is one of the things that I kind of learned from watching you for a long time, was at that same night, as soon as that happened, you know, you have a set list. Although I don't know if the Donuts have a set list.
We don't follow a set list.
Amazing. I'm like, seriously, y'all. I am.
We have hand signals, actually.
I am modeling Paper Chase after the Donuts because, you know, 6 months from now, I want to be like the Donuts, where we start and we don't stop the whole. Like, if anybody's ever seen a Donut show, if y'all play a 2.5 hour set, there's maybe twice the whole time where music stops and you talk.
Right. There's a little bit of banter. Everybody give me a hi-oh, and then you make a joke, and it's off to the races.
Yeah, I did that. And it worked, and I looked down and saw like the next 4 songs we were going to play, and I'm like, wait, Bobby wouldn't play those songs right now. He would go grab and play these songs because...
Read your audience.
Exactly. We want to keep this thing...
Just because it's written down doesn't mean it has to be followed like in that order. You know, if you're rolling along like with a dance tune, and all of a sudden it feels like the room is drawing in close to the stage, and they're really, you know, like, don't drop that tempo down the next show. Knock them down with 2 more, you like good dance tunes or rock or whatever, and then maybe drop it a little bit to let them catch their breath, and then bring it right back up again.
And that's what's beautiful about having been able to be on the inside of the Donuts.
I guess you have been watching all this time.
Right? No.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I have. That's why, and I tried to tell David, I was like, man, you don't understand. I'm a pretty fucking good study. Like, I've been watching what Bobby does, and I know what he does, and I see they don't have a fucking set list, and I see them calling audibles, and the beautiful thing about Paper Chase is that I'm in that band with a couple of studs.
Yeah.
Like, you can't throw Woody. Like,
well, you can't throw him, and guess what? Darren Trey, I said a long time ago that a band is only as good as its drummer.
Look.
So you're set.
I've never been in a band without Woody, and I will never be in a band without Woody. And I've also got Miguel, who is a fucking stud over here, and he can't be shaken. And I got Phil, who's been in 100 bands, and you know, and then I have Jessica next to me, who she's just following my lead, right? Like,
well, I mean, and she's got the pipes.
Oh, dude.
She's super sweet, and she likes it. And you know, that's the other thing is everybody that's in your band are all sweet people.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, and the longer you're
together, want a campaign for me to fucking convince some of the people around here that I am a sweet person. But fuck it, whatever. You know?
You are a sweet person, man.
And that's
you're just opinionated, and some people just have a problem with that.
Like, if you would have seen, like,
I can deal with your shitty opinions.
Yeah. Right? I'm bored. We're gonna do that.
I know we are.
But, like today, like and it's like my fucking brain doesn't have fucking stop anymore after the past couple of years, and I can't handle shit. And like somebody posted something on Facebook today that I knew was like a little passive aggressive dig at me, and I just fucking went in with people and we're going back and forth, and I'm like, what am I doing?
You have to just
I'm like, what am I doing? And you know what the underlying thing is that these group of people, I'm trying to be friends with them because I like them, and they don't like me because I do this, right? Like, I sit here and fucking say what I want to say.
Right.
They don't fucking like me.
Right.
But they don't realize on my side, I think y'all are fucking awesome, and I want to be a part of y'all.
Right.
But they hear this, and they see this, and it blows up in my face, and, you know, like...
Well, I mean, to be fair, that's part of your thing, though. I think that you like to provoke people a little bit. Do you not? See, you had to pause when you answered that. That's a part of you that does like that.
Because, believe it or not, I do try to think about things before I say them. I don't like to provoke people, but I just say what I feel. If I don't like your band, I say, I don't like your band. Like, I'm not one of these people who's just gonna fucking prop you up. Like, hey man, that ain't my thing. You asked me, or if I'm doing a show and it comes up, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And people can't fucking deal with that.
And look, that's perfectly fair to say that ain't my thing. I don't like it. That's perfectly fair to say that. If you say you fucking suck, that's a little bit different.
And I won't do that.
Right.
It's like I'm trying to. I love broadcasting. I grew up listening to Howard Stern. I listen to Jason Ellis now. I think it's a fucking amazing medium.
It's an amazing medium, and it's like free-flowing art. Like, this is not scripted. I mean, like, there's a couple questions. This is off the cuff. So, in very many ways, it's like watching live jazz or something. You don't know where this is going. No. And so that's sort of the beauty of it.
I'm trying to be entertaining and compelling, and I would tell anybody, like, one of the first times I went on Pickle Scoop, there was 5 people in the room, and I tried, so people got their feelings hurt just because we're making jokes, but I'm like, what you don't understand is you're listening to a show. You're listening to it to be entertained. I'm sitting in a room with 5 people that I'm trying to make laugh. I don't know what's going on out there. All I know is I can be the funniest and most interesting that I can be right here, and hopefully that'll translate.
Right. Well, you know what the other thing, too, is, and this is not your fault, but to be fair, what people don't know that might just meet you is by being friends with Maggio, Squirrel, and David, like the 4 of y'all, were always very honest and ruthlessly funny with each other. And that was y'all's thing. And I remember meeting y'all, and right away, that's, like, I'm good for joking like that, too.
Yeah, I know you are.
But a lot of people are super sensitive, and so they don't know that that's your background. But, like, for you, that's supernatural to just be like that. Like, meaning, like, look, man, like, I'm really just joking. I'm not trying to, do anything to hurt your feelings. But, dude, like, I've seen y'all go back and forth in the early days. I'm like, dude, these motherfuckers are ruthless with each other.
Yeah, and there was never arguments.
No. There was no fights. Nobody swung at each other. No.
We were, and like, when you say being ruthless, not in a mean way, like, we were just trying to make each other laugh.
And it was funny.
Because you're in a group of 4 dudes that are fucking, there's a couple of y'all that are hilarious, and you don't want to just be sitting there all the time. You're trying to make these dudes that crack you up laugh.
Well, what was always the answer? Like, I love the 4 of y'all so much. I'm like, hey, guys, any chance I'm going to be in the Rapscallions? 4 of y'all gives it, no.
No, sorry, Bob.
Sorry, Bob, but you're never going to be in. That's funny.
Yeah, so...
I knew y'all loved me.
Yeah,
it's great.
Fucking right, man. We were around you all the time.
But yeah, look, you know what? Keep doing your thing. Like, you've got to do what you feel is right and be honest. And you know what? If people disagree, there could be an honest debate about that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'll tell you what. We did just breeze over the. You should listen to the last show with Dickie on it, because I brought up the bus. And I was like,
oh, right.
I looked at Dickie and I was like, you saw the Donut's new bus? He's like, yeah. And I was like, are you jealous? And, I can kind of tell he was like, yeah, a little bit, I mean, I wouldn't mind having that. But this is what it looks to me from knowing y'all, that y'all have kind of gone all in and decided that, like, did y'all get together and talk and say,
yes.
How did that go down?
The way that it went down is the old bagel that we had for like 8 or 9 years, and it was really starting to show wear and tear. Like, we were starting to dump a lot of money into it. One thing that we knew that we wanted to do, like in fact, doing shows that were really far, like, out of town, were actually starting to get to be somewhat of a hassle, because it's an uncomfortable ride, and at night when you're done and you got a 4-hour ride home and you're just being bounced all around, and it's got no good suspension anymore, it starts to take its toll on you in your mid-40s. So what we wanted to do, we talked about it, like, look, you know what, does anybody want to fold up the tent? Everybody said no, absolutely not. So what we decided to do is we started taking 1 gig a month back in August and not pay ourselves for it, to save up for a down payment, and to start just looking. And we had a price range we wanted to go to. But what we decided is, if this band's got 10 years left and everybody's feeling good, we're booking a lot of gigs, and the shows all seem to be just getting better and better, and the audience reaction is great. It's as good as it's ever been. We felt like, we've got young kids. We want to do this, and we did 120 gigs last year, which is a huge year. So, we decided we've earned the right to be able to travel in style and comfort, and maybe start branching out and going like a bit farther. So let's get something that's got bunks for everybody. Everybody has got a place to sleep, and so we started looking. Our price range was around 80. We found something for a little over $100K, which is a lot of money. But so we put down like 20 grand, and what we decided is we're going to pay it off in 2 years. We're going to take 1 gig a month and not pay ourselves for it, and that goes straight to the bus. And in 2 years, it'll be completely paid off. And after that, we own it. But the reason for it was it's reinvigorated us now, because now everybody gets on it. We're totally comfortable. Everybody plugs in their phones or takes a nap or fixes something to eat or turns on the Wi-Fi or whatever. So now the band has sort of settled down with being not comfortable doing road work, and we're back into that thing again. And I think that we feel like that we can ride in this thing straight into the sunset, basically.
Yeah, I think that's great. And what's something that I don't know if this is like a group decision or whatever, but
it was definitely a group decision.
What I'm saying is y'all also all seem to be making sure that you stay physically fit. Like, I don't know if that's for individuals' decision or if because y'all are fucking thin swimmer's body, right? Like, which is different than other bands. Like, don't get me wrong, the guys in the Chiwis, like, they look like fucking.
Yeah, they're pretty ripped.
Yeah. But like, you could kind of tell that, hey, let's do this for another, 10 years. And
well, you have Kevin George, which that just speaks for itself. I mean, Kevin's a monstrosity. I mean, the guy really lives and breathes. Like, he loves fitness. That's his thing.
Getting his dick in his mouth.
Yeah, hey-o. Jonathan and I have been pretty lucky genetics-wise. We've always been thin, and luckily, as we're gotten into our 40s, that seems to be maintaining itself. And I think Jerry works out on a regular basis, too. So, yeah, that is, part of our thing. One of the things that I wanted to add about another reason that we bought this bus is for us. It doesn't work for every band, but our bus or Bago or whatever has always been the heart and soul of the band.
It is.
Traveling together, and that 1 hour prior to stage time when everybody's putting on makeup together and making jokes or telling funny stories, that's our time to get ourselves pumped up and feel the energy, which is the four of us together. And that always translates to the stage, and we don't want to lose that. Like, for us, that's our home. And so, this, like, now it's just a plusher home, you know what I'm saying? But
it's funny because when Dick, because I brought it up.
You're trying to rub his nose in some shit?
Obviously, I knew Dickie, he wouldn't say anything negative.
No.
But when I asked him, I was like, well, how do the fucking Mollies travel? And he's like, separately. And that's strange. To me, that's strange.
A lot of bands do it that way, actually.
They do, but it's strange because I've been around y'all for so long.
Well,
me, I'm like, why wouldn't you fucking...
I think we were the first band, whether it's the Donuts or Metal Rose had a Bago back then too. I think that you've seen it done that way, and so now like that feels to you like that's the way it should be done. But a lot of bands just drive their own vehicle, and to be fair to them, that's 1 gig a month that I'm not getting paid for. There's no gig a month that they're not getting paid for. So that does come down to a financial decision as well.
Let me ask you this.
It's a sacrifice.
Are y'all better than the Mollies?
No, better.
Are they better than you?
I would say this. I would say their show is an absolute spectacle. It's amazing. It's a multimedia. Like, I'm a fan. I got to tell you, I'm a total fan. Like, they all sing. They all switch instruments. And they make their own videos. I mean, like, what's better? It depends on what you like. But, I mean, like, those guys are really groundbreaking in a lot of ways. Like, they took being a cover band to a completely, like, they go to House of Blues in South Carolina and Orlando, Dallas, Houston, Vegas, and they sell it out. Now, Donuts ain't doing that, I mean, now, I'd say that at the end of the day, I think that most of us make something comparable to each other as far as our take-home pay at the end of the year. It's probably fairly close. But they are an amazing band. They're great guys, and they deserve all the success that they have. Like, I mean, they took, doing what we do to a really different level. It's a multimedia. It's an amazing experience, and that's why they pack them in.
Regardless, when I kind of asked Dickie just because from an outsider's point of view, we look at it, I look at it and go, man, there's a chance that the Mollies, that they could be the most successful cover band of all time.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
And what they drive the drum kit and the fucking, and one thing I did kind of press was one thing about them. If you're a fan and you don't know the people in it, you got some heavy hitters in that band, man.
It's great.
You got some fucking seriously talented people in that band.
Talented,
it's not luck.
Great singers. The dudes are badass on their instruments, and they switch them all up. And dude, I mean, look, I've been to see them 30 times, and I'm always entertained. Yeah. And you know what? You got to give it to them. Like, their thing is that they play fucking 80s, and they don't go outside that genre. And they have a massive set list of, all kind of 80s stuff. Like, they're the type of band that can play like a 2-night stand, and on both nights, never play the same song.
Dickie told me he's still, to this day, every week, he's still putting new songs and tracks and sounds and stuff together.
Yep.
What was funny is I actually got to be a fly on the wall around them one time when they were arguing whether or not they should play a song, because technically it was recorded in 79 but released in 80. Like that, but it was like interesting to listen to, like, how seriously they take it.
Yeah.
Realize, wow, that's why y'all are good. Not because
they take it seriously, and guess what? Taking it seriously has done very well for them. It's a serious business.
Oh. That's their
not to say that Bag of Donuts it's not, but for us, our thing is a little different,
Yeah, they are. They're interesting. I mean, when someone takes something that seriously, it's impressive, and they're kicking ass and show no signs.
And there's a lot of it's kind of like an incestuous relationship on some level, because me, Dickie, Phil, and Jack did rock and roll karaoke together for 10 years every Tuesday. Dickie and I and Phil do Stash Gordon together. Jack and I do the Morning Life together. So there's all, it's intertwined, and, we talk to each other and see each other all the time. And people ask me all the time, do we feel competitive with them or vice versa? And really the answer is no, because they're working all the time, and we're working all the time.
Dickie, and he said the same thing, and I just don't understand that, because I told Dickie, and I'll tell you too, I'm coming for both of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
come on.
That's my outlook on it. I'm a competitor. I'm doing this thing.
Bring the heat, motherfucker. Let's see what you got, baby.
Yeah, you want to fucking share a stage? Let's fucking do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
This is what I think that you'll find too. I think that you'll find. No. You might kick her ass, but what I think will happen is you'll find that if you're good, the cream rises to the top, and you'll be working a lot, and we'll be working a lot, and they'll be working a lot, and everybody wins. And then you realize, wow, this is not really trying to take each other's gigs away. There's so much room for everybody. Chiwis too. Those guys are sweet. They're badass players, and they work all the time.
Well, I'll repeat what I said last week. I just don't like what they play.
Okay.
The Chiwis are fucking awesome, but they play the Journey and all of that shit.
Okay.
That's just not my thing.
That's not your preference.
Sweet.
Oh yeah, they're all great,
awesome,
and they're great players, man. Brandon Forey. You ever seen him play saxophone?
No, I haven't.
Oh, dude.
Really?
Oh yeah, you got to check him out.
Maybe I have, and then maybe I have. You're right, and yes.
Dude, that's a soulful cat, man. Those guys are great. Those guys are great. But hey, bring it on, motherfucker. Let's go.
I'm fucking coming for y'all. I did.
Come on.
After Dickie was on the show the other day, I did look and see that the Molly Ringwalds are slowly creeping up in Facebook likes to the actual Molly Ringwald.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Like the fucking famous actress Molly Ringwald has like 100,000 likes on Facebook.
I think they're close to 50.
Like 50. Yeah. Like, hey, they're catching up to you, bitch.
Right. 50,000 Molly fans can't be wrong.
All right, so we've talked about that, and we're right at about 57 minutes.
Okay.
We're going to go a little further.
Let's go over it.
We're going to talk about the morning life. And I know
Let's do it.
You've heard what I've said, even if you didn't listen last week. Like 3 or 4 weeks. The morning life has just like Dirtiest Players, you've got a record that you were in the middle of recording.
When David,
I don't know what the timing was with David.
Almost the middle, yeah.
And obviously, you're just like me, like, you have to finish it, right? There is no question. And, I've talked about this, and I actually it's funny, I had 3 different people text me today and ask me if I was going to talk to you about this.
Of course.
And I was like, yeah, Like, why wouldn't I talk to him about this? So I'm on Facebook the other day, and I see that you post that y'all are doing a Kickstarter
Right.
to have the record mastered by someone special.
Right.
I know who it is.
Okay.
And pressed and put out. And I've said, and I'm sure you've heard it, that my initial reaction was negative.
Yes.
And, you know, and the reason it was negative was because David's name was right in the beginning of it. You know what I mean?
And that was my idea, but I'll explain that. Why don't you say what you want to say first?
It, you know,
It rubbed you the wrong way.
and I don't even know if that's it, because I talked to Dickie about it, even off the air.
Yeah.
Because I just respect him, and I want him to tell him.
Of course.
And Woody is like kind of my.
And Woody's
That's-
like he's in the band.
Exactly.
He's in the Morning Life.
And I was like, man, I didn't have a specific reaction. I think it was just the mention of his name and it being.
It might have just seeing that just reminded you, wow.
And it's like I told Dickie last week, his name and the memory, it's all I got left. So I'm protective of it.
You're the guardian of it. I understand.
Right.
And you know, right.
So it did. It just gave me a bad feeling, and the first time I didn't even go through the whole thing. Like Mark and I talked about it on number 15, and he said, he was like, well, maybe it was worded wrong, and they should give something away. And it turns out that was what y'all were doing. There was like...
Yeah, like there's a different package for how much people want to donate. Right. Like I think we actually, like someone did donate actually $500.
That's right.
And so, you know, we're going to go to that person's house
Yeah.
and play for them.
Yeah,
You know?
which is great. And I don't know why it just it gave me a bad feeling, and I want to know what were your thoughts behind it? Why are you doing it?
I put a lot of thought into it, so let me try to explain that this might help. First of all, Woody was the one that initially said, I don't know about mentioning David in this. And I totally got what he meant. My thought was this. First of all, I don't think that we should try to avoid the elephant that's in the living room. I mean, this is David's last album that he'll ever make.
Second to last.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That doesn't matter. I'm just being stupid.
Gotcha.
Yeah, right. That we're both in the same situation.
Yeah, right, same situation. So, and you know, and David, like I've got pictures of us, you know, like tracking some of the songs on it. David's voice is on backing vocals on a bunch of stuff, and there's a bunch of songs on it, including one called "My Love Is Not Enough." That is, it's going to break your heart when you hear it, because David wrote it during the radio silence sessions, and it basically describes David's death scene years prior to David dying. Anyway, so I thought, you know what? It's wrong to not say, hey, you know what? This is David's swan song as far as with us. I don't want to just act like that's not what's going on here. In fact, the name of the record is The Sound of Collapse. That's the name of the record. And so we went through this process of making this record, and David's voice is in my cans while I'm trying to sing his words and his melody. And, you know, like I cried during some of the sessions, and it was really tough. And to be fair, David wanted to do some online campaigns for the first two Morning Life records. It turns out we didn't need to do that. And so part of me thought about that. Like David was adamant. He's like, dude, we should do something online and raise money. And it just turned out, you know, the Morning Life still like played more gigs back then. So first thing I thought is, well, you know what? What's good enough for David in life ought to be good enough for David in death. I don't think David would have a problem with it. And I wanted people to understand that what they were contributing to was something that is final. Like, not that the Morning Life is going to break up. I don't know where things are headed.
No, it shouldn't.
But it's certainly his last record with us, you know. And so, like, I wanted people to understand this is what you're contributing to. The other thing is the reason that this guy that's going to master the record was chosen is Jack is cousins with Tracy Freeman, who has produced all of the Harry Connick Jr. records. Jack called Tracy to master Super Pop, which is the song that the Donuts did. And the guy did a great job. Jack loved it. And so, and by the way, this guy, his name is Vlado Meller, and he's done Michael Jackson, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Metallica. He's won 2 Grammys. Yeah, that the guy is for real. And so what I felt like and what the band talked about is that, you know what, this is David's last record. And if we're going to go out, then, you know, we want the absolute best that's in the world, if we can afford it, to do this for him. Now, it's not a money grab. No one's pocketing money. This is what it's going to cost to master and press, and that's it. If there's money left over, we would just give it back to people. But no one is putting money in their pocket by mentioning David's death for sure. And the other thing I thought about is, remember what we talked about a bit earlier, how that benefit for Jeff. Jeff had a wife and a child, and that was the right thing to do for them. David didn't have a wife or a child, but David's kids were his songs. And so, this is a way for us to really do it really, really right. And I think that David would be proud of that. But I certainly, knew that in my head, this might strike people a little strange, but I'm not selling T-shirts that say David Philistry, 1971 to 2015, and selling it for $20 and putting the money in my pocket. This is, Morning Life started at 528, like Aurora Avenue, sitting like together. And so my argument is that I want to finish it right for him. Like, this is it for all time. And in 20 years, like when I put on this record and it's pristine and beautiful, I'll be glad that we did it. And the bottom line really too is we don't have $3,000,
I was just going to ask you, why wouldn't you pay for it yourself?
Just, Jack, me, Woody, Graham, we talked about it, and we just don't, we just can't come up with the scratch. I mean, like I'm working all the time, but I got 2 kids and, I got a mortgage and, like I just, we couldn't come up with it. And so this time we said, you know what, let's just put it out there and see how people feel about it.
And I'll say, if you go back and even the first time that I talked about it, one of the first things I said was, if there's a group of dudes that I know, it's these guys, and if it was a financial thing, they would do it, right? Like,
You just didn't have the money.
And I get it. Like,
yeah.
I don't have, like, as well as I'm doing, I really don't have.
And that's what I say too. Like, right? People think, Bobby's in a bag of donuts and he's got 2 jobs and this and that. Yeah, but also got 2 kids, a house, and a wife, and 2 cars, and like I just don't have it. Yeah. And then too, the other thing, if this helps you, it's me. Yeah. I think that the way that I felt about David and the way that I felt about our music together, and I really think. I delivered David's eulogy. Like, there was nothing more personal to him than his music. I know that you know that because y'all did an album. I think you got another one coming out, right? Yeah. And so, like, I'm
trying to finish it for.
I
can't.
Hey,
I can't.
I feel your pain. That's what we're talking about right now.
Every time I turn the songs on, I'm like, ugh.
Like, I actually think, that if I had 10 minutes to talk to David, one question I was, asked was, hey, you cool with us finishing it like this? I really think that he'd go, yes, yeah, I am cool with this.
I really do too. And just so you know, I know you didn't listen last week, Dickie basically said the same exact shit. Dickie said, why not, like, this is what you got. Why not make it special? And not that the first 2 records weren't. But this is it. This is his swan song, yeah. And so we want to make it be like the best sounding album that we've ever done. And Jack has got those kind of connections, and I think that the guy that's mastering it is actually still giving us like a deal. It's a massive expense. I know we had our EP mastered locally by the guy Bruce, who I think mastered
Radio Silence.
Yeah. And I know it was 5 songs, and I know what that cost. So I know $3,000 is not like, oh, he's making a fucking. No. You're probably getting a fucking deal.
A great deal. Right? Yeah. Right.
So and
I hope that puts your mind like somewhat like at ease. I mean, like I understand when you first saw it, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But when you really think about it, it's just basically this is us trying to make David's art as eternal as possible.
And I'm with you.
Really and truly.
And like I said, I would never do anything to try to stop. It'd be silly to put up a fight or something like that. But I'm also never gonna bite my tongue on how I felt.
Well, no, and my feeling about it was, this is your show, and I would never tell you that you shouldn't speak your mind.
Yeah.
Now, That was odd that you didn't call me, that you just said it on your radio show.
Well,
But I figured that you and I would have time to discuss this at some point, and this was probably the right forum, to come full circle with it. Like, it started on your show, and I think that, this is now the time to...
if you want to know how that worked out, is literally I saw the post about 2 hours before Mark.
And so
were gonna do the
it was
podcast.
fresh in your mind.
I didn't even write it down.
It was there.
But he said something that triggered it in me, and I was like, you know what? I want to talk about this. And I don't even know if you heard it, but I was like, I think I have beef with my friends right now. Like, I did. I was like, I think I got a beef right now because I saw this, and it was funny because usually Mark would like kind of amp me up and go with it, but he kind of said the same thing, man. He was like, maybe it was worded how you didn't want it worded.
Right.
And the first thing he said was, maybe they should have just said that, contribute to this and the fans are going to get something out of it. Well, I didn't dig that much into it, and that turns out that's what y'all were doing.
Yeah, well,
you were totally giving the record away to people who donated, letting them. I mean, even you were, for a certain amount of money, somebody could be on the fucking record with you if they wanted.
right, yes.
So
Yeah, sing background vocals on a
I
song.
can tell you this, that I don't have any ill feelings to anybody, because I get it. There's no perfect way to navigate this shit.
That's very true. This is uncharted waters, and I wanted to make sure, like, it was very important to me that I do mention that I want people to know that this is David's last project with us, because, that's significant. I mean, the whole album was made under this cloud of David being gone. I mean, our hearts were broken,
It becomes like...
It's part of the art. It's
it.
infused in the art now.
The reason that the DP record keeps getting pushed off is that there's no way to ignore that. That's why we're doing it.
And not only that, when you're finished with it, it's over.
That's it, right?
And so, yeah.
That's part of me, like, just being like, oh, well...
I don't blame you for wanting to put it off. Part of it for me is getting it done, by the first anniversary of his death. I don't know if we'll make that timeline, but there's certain compartments of time that you want to fit things in. I mean, David died, and I think we only waited about a month, and we went back into the studio.
I don't think there's anything wrong with any of that.
It was really tough to, like, part of me didn't want to do it at all. And then once I started doing it and felt creative and felt like, no, all great art is made when you're really feeling strongly about something. And so there's songs that we wrote together, there's songs that he wrote that I never heard before. And on a couple of playbacks, Jack's like, hey, check this out, it's a demo of David. Then he played it, and I fucking lost my shit. I said, by the way, I'm heartbroken. It's also beautiful. It's got to go on the record.
Yeah, it's like, I'm kind of... There's something that I will not forget to say this, but I want to say something first.
Sure.
It is. It's like, and I will tell you this: I haven't written a line since that day, and I was like David.
You need to.
David is like the most prolific dude I've ever fucking been around.
He always had a riff for us. Yeah.
And I was the same way when it came to writing. David and I used to for a long time, for a few years. He would just, he worked from home, and he'd play the guitar and record himself every day. Well, he'd record something, and he'd send it to me, and I'd listen to it, and immediately I would have something, like, I'd scribble something down, and I'd say it into my phone, and I'd send it back to him, and he's like, that's a song, we got it. And then we would get together. I have not written a fucking line since that I lost David, and I haven't been able to. I've sat down 100 times to try to write.
Well, maybe this conversation will be a catalyst for you to just sit down again. Just try again. I mean, listen, I've written, in fact, there's a song that's on the album called Wrecking Ball, and it's about him. And it started out with this great riff that Jack wrote, and David's voice is in the background vocals, and you can hear him so pronounced. Yeah. And it's funny, I hear David singing, and, all the words are about how David was his own wrecking ball, and then he became our wrecking ball, and I cry every time that I hear the song. But part of me, that was tough to write that, because I'm saying goodbye to him, basically.
It's fucked up.
But it's great art. I think it's beautiful. Like, it turned out great. But man, sometimes you just got to go. Speaking about uncharted waters,
I've got fucking tablets with like a line written with a fucking teardrop next to it, and I'm like, yeah, because as soon as I started to go write, one thing that is I don't like only. because I've actually thought about, there's this one thing that I have that there's only a few of us that have heard, that I've really been thinking about putting on the record, because I want people to hear it, and then I battle with keeping it for us and not letting it out there. But I know I've sent it to you before, like when I was going through right after Jeff died, and I was going I was rocky with my ex-wife.
He sent you the Jeff Buckley thing?
He to cheer me up, he played Hallelujah by Jeff Buckley on the guitar, and he sang it, and he sent it to me, and at the time, it really did, it made me happy. And you listen back to it now, and it's Jesus.
It breaks your heart.
I mean, oh my God.
It's funny that you say that. On that song, My Love Is Not Enough, the demo is David singing all through the whole thing. Yeah. And I thought about having the version that I sing on, and as a hidden track, having David's demo. And, you know, there's a little pitchy here and there, but you can hear the emotion in his voice so strong. And I thought, let's keep that, you know, for us. And then there's another thing that he wrote after this musician named Colin Brown died, and it's an instrumental, and it's one of the most beautiful things David's ever written. And I don't think it's going to make it on this record. We might save one more piece of music for the fourth record. But I'm battling in very much the same way. I don't know if it's okay to share. I kind of want to keep it for myself.
We go back to, there's no fucking roadmap.
There's no roadmap.
And I want everybody to hear that, but I've literally sent it to, because, I mean, it was a present he gave me. And I've sent it to you, his sister.
I've listened to it a bunch of times.
I hope you do.
Yeah.
I want you to listen to it, and whenever you can, and you know, maybe a fucking small handful of other people that were his close people, and everybody thought the same thing. Like, Jesus Christ, thanks for fucking ruining my night. Right? That's amazing.
Yeah, but you know what? As time goes on, that won't always be something that ruins your night. It'll be something in 10 years. We've been gone for a decade, and you're like, I'm so glad I had this. I can hear his voice, and you know, because you know, as we get older, the sad part about it, I don't want to get too maudlin, but both with Jeff and David, like, imagine in 30 years you'll still be going, I still remember what their voice sounds like, but I haven't talked to them in a long time.
I forget who it was that I texted. It might have been my girl, like a week ago. Something happened on this show, Jason Ellis, that him and I listened to, and I got as far as picking the phone up, going and finding his contact, and starting to text him. When I was like, oh wait,
still out of habit.
I mean, it's like a fucking smoker who doesn't realize they went in and bought a pack of cigarettes.
Yep.
I literally.
And then it hits you all over again. You're like, damn, that motherfucker is gone.
This is what we used to do on a daily. I think people would be surprised how much David and I kept in touch. We would text and call each other a fucking dozen times every day. It never stopped. That's how fucking tight we were.
Well, you know, my joke always was that y'all were husband and wife.
Yeah,
you know,
we're a couple.
You were a couple.
We're a fucking couple.
Y'all loved each other. You know,
we just didn't bang. We did oral, but we never.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? A fucking dick you don't make you queer, as they say. You know.
You suck on dick.
Right. Exactly.
So, well, I'm glad we talked about that. And,
Me too. Me too.
We went a little longer than we usually do, but I think I know people are going to be interested to hear about you, and that's the whole reason.
Man, I appreciate the invitation, and I think it's okay to have a disagreement and talk about it, and you know, that's the way it should be.
I can already tell. I want to bring you back again. Hopefully, it'll be when Mark is in here, because we didn't even get to the fucking shit with you being in medical school and dropping out and the teaser for the next time Bobby's on. He was in medical school.
I got accepted in medical school.
Okay, yeah,
I got accepted.
And then you were like, nah, I'm going to go be a rock.
I'm going to play music, and Mom and Dad were really thrilled.
Yeah.
That'll be chapter 2. We'll have to because actually that's a good story, because, you know, it talks about following your own inner voice, and I'm still playing music, so it wasn't a bad decision.
And we're not talking about the son of a musician. We're talking about the son of
an orthopedic surgeon.
Doctor.
Yeah.
A surgeon.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Well, Bobby,
I love you, brother.
Love you too.
Let's do it again.
And,
Mark, get your ass back to the Wine and Cheese show. Come on, buddy.
Please.
Come on. Cheese fucked up. He's very sorry. It'll never happen again. And I think you can take that to the bank. You know, I mean, you know, for all y'all been through, I think, you know what? It sucks. He messed up. Give him a pass. Come on.
And until then, hail
Hail Satan, wine and cheese, 17 out.
Open up the champagne, pop. It's my house, come on, turn it up. Hear a knock on the door and the night begins. Cause we've done this before, so you come on in. Make yourself at my home, tell me where you been. Pour yourself something cold, baby, cheers to this. Sometimes you gotta stay in, and you know where I live. Yeah, you know what we is. Sometimes you gotta stay in. Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We can't even slow down. We don't have to go a while. Welcome to my house, play the music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go a while. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. Morning comes and you know that you wanna stay. Close the blinds, let's pretend that the time has changed. Keep our clothes on the floor, open up champagne. Let's continue tonight, come on, celebrate. That's how we do. Sometimes you gotta stay in, and you know where I live. Yeah, you know what we is. Sometimes you gotta stay in. Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We can't even slow down. We don't have to go a while. Welcome to my house, play that music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go a while. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my duck off the crib, the spot, the pad. But my house is your house if you throwing it back. Excuse me, it's my home, draining the sand. Soon as these happy faces land, you can run with the cash. Home run, slam dunk, touchdown pass. Mi casa es tu casa, so it ain't no holding back. Another shot of vodka, you know what's in my glass. It's my house, just relax. Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We can't even slow down. We don't have to go a while. Welcome to my house, play that music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go a while. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. It's my house.